And that looks like it's a wrap on day 2 of NFL free agency. It's been a pretty wild couple of days in the NFL. And we're here to talk about the Ravens. Now, there have been some pretty crazy signings going around the league. Some trades like Joe Mixon going to the Texans and Brian Burns going to the Giants. But we're here to talk about the Ravens. The good news, signings, and the bad news, the players leaving. First, let's start with the bad news. The first Ravens free agent signed was Geno Stone, and he went to a rival. Now, there's been a little bit of a theme going on with that. First with Saquon going to the Eagles. Now, Geno Stone went to the Bengals. And I don't really want to talk about this too much because it's not as big as some of the other ones. Geno Stone was a backup for a while in Baltimore, and he got his chance starting when Marcus Williams went down with injury this past season. And he played great. 7 interceptions, was second in the league. But in my opinion, it is not that bad that we lost him. We're paying Marcus Williams a lot of money. We're paying, well, Kyle Hamilton's a rookie, but we will be paying Kyle Hamilton a lot of money. So I don't really see the importance in re-signing him. Next off the board for the Ravens was running back Gus Edwards. Gus has been a very crucial part of this Ravens team for several years. And last year he was scheduled to become a free agent and the Ravens re-signed him. This year he did go to a different team. He was signed by the Los Angeles Chargers. That's a pretty good pickup for them, especially considering they lost Austin Eckler to the Commanders. I do kind of wish we re-signed him, but at the same time, I'm okay with it. Kind of a start of a new era, but yeah, 4th all-time leading rusher in Baltimore history, pretty big deal. Obviously, the Ravens haven't been around a while, but I truly appreciate Gus's accomplishments over the time. I mean, he's made some crazy runs. Last year, 13 touchdown runs. I mean, absolutely insane. He was a very foundational player for the Ravens over this past several seasons, even before Lamar was on the team. The third player the Ravens lost to free agency was cornerback Ronald Darby. This one might hurt a lot less than Geno Stone and Gus Edwards because he was only on the team for a year. However, he was a very good depth corner last year, and he was very solid when our other corners got injured, and I think the Ravens do need a lot of help at corner. So this loss overall does hurt. Now, I think they can get some good depth in the draft, but Darby going to the Jaguars does definitely hurt. I don't think we were going to bring him back, but I will miss that depth. A fourth player that left the Baltimore Ravens was wide receiver Devin Duvernay. Now, all of you Ravens fans know that Devin Duvernay has been an incredible punt and kick returner during his time in Baltimore. He's had multiple kick returns for touchdowns. One against the Chiefs. Yes, we lost that game, but still, anytime you score against the Chiefs, a big crazy play like that, it's awesome. But he was an incredible returner. He had some good plays at a receiver. He just wasn't really great at getting separation, at route running. He had good hands overall compared to some of our other receivers, and I will miss him. I think he was a very good receiver and depth receiver and returner during his time in Baltimore, and I will truly miss him. A fifth Ravens free agent to sign with a different team was linebacker Del'Shawn Phillips. And Del'Shawn Phillips was a depth linebacker, obviously, with the Ravens having Roquan and Patrick Queen. And the Ravens were interested in bringing him back, but they just weren't willing to pay as much as some other teams. And unfortunately, he's gone. Obviously, losing linebacker depth hurts. We have a lot, like Trenton Simpson. We re-signed Malik Harrison, which I'll talk about in a bit. And so losing him isn't that bad. He's obviously a depth player, so it's not the worst. It's not like losing a starter. But it does always hurt to lose that depth. And finally, the most painful loss of free agency so far for the Baltimore Ravens. Linebacker Patrick Queen has signed a 3-year, $41 million contract with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, like I said earlier, it's been the free agency of betrayal, rivalry betrayal, that is. And we knew the Ravens weren't going to be offering Patrick Queen money. He turned down a $10 million a year contract from the Texans. Obviously got much more in Pittsburgh, but man, you just don't want to see him go to a rival team. I mean, he talks about how he always had that grudge against Tomlin. Tomlin planted the seeds. I mean, there's nothing we could have done. We had to pay other people money. It wasn't worth paying Patrick Queen. We paid Matabike. But this one definitely does sting. But enough of the bad news. That's not what I wanted to make this video about. I wanted to make this video about the Ravens signings. Not that many. We re-signed Malik Harrison to a 1-year deal, which I'm all for because we will need linebacker depth now that Patrick Queen is gone. Obviously, I can imagine Trenton Simpson will be the other starting inside linebacker along with Roquan Smith. We'll see how training camp and preseason goes, how the draft goes. We'll see who we get, but that's who I imagine will be Roquan Smith's partner in the kind of middle area of the field. But the big free agency signing that everyone's been waiting for, Derrick Henry has signed a 2-year, $16 million worth upwards of $20 million with $9 million guaranteed. I love this deal. I think he was paid fairly, $9 million guaranteed with, I'm sure, a lot of incentives, including wins, playoff wins, etc. But I absolutely love this deal. I love this signing. The Ravens needed a good power back with the loss of Gus Edwards, and I think he will pair perfectly with in the backfield with Lamar and Keaton Mitchell. I mean, that is truly the 3 most dynamic players you could have. You have the super speed of Keaton Mitchell. You have the speed and elusiveness and smart decision-making of Lamar Jackson. And then you have the absolute pure strength and power of Derrick Henry. I mean, you really couldn't ask for a better backfield than that. I mean, just think of the read options. Come on. But in all seriousness, this deal, I think, you never really think, oh, a running back's going to make a team that much better. I think Derrick Henry makes a team that much better. Yes, the Ravens have some positions they need to fill on their offense, such as their offensive line and wideouts. But, oh, man, I cannot wait to see what Monken does with this offense. He has all the pieces he needs, except for wideout, but we'll get there, to make this offense unbelievable, unstoppable. You know how the Eagles were unstoppable with the tush push? The Ravens read option is going to be the new tush push. I'm telling you. And I stole that from a comment. Man, I cannot wait to see what the future holds for this team. I am so thrilled. And that's about it.